Top 7 Shocking Facts About the 2024 Nosferatu Remake. This isn't just another vampire movie. Robert Eggers' Nosferatu is a film so transformative, so physically and psychologically demanding, that it left its star, Bill Skarsgård, almost unrecognizable and questioning his own sanity. From radical story changes that depart from the 1922 original to the grueling, real-world ordeals of its cast, the secrets behind this film are arguably more shocking than the movie itself. Early reactions have been incredibly strong, with many praising it as a gothic opera of obsession and dread that crawls under your skin. But what you see on screen is only half the story. The journey to resurrect this century-old nightmare was a decade-long obsession for its director, filled with production hurdles, artistic gambles that pushed everyone to their limits, and a commitment to authenticity so extreme it borders on madness. A premise agenda. In this video, we recounting down the top 7 shocking facts about the 2024 Nosferatu that will fundamentally change the way you see it. We're going to peel back the skin of this film to look at the blood and bones of its creation, from the onset chaos to the profound, artistic choices that make it so much more than just a remake. We'll explore the years of development hell, the shocking casting shakeups, the extreme physical transformations, and the bold narrative swings that make this film a once-in-a-generation cinematic event. So, light a candle, lock your doors, and prepare to descend into the darkness. This is the story behind the story of Nosferatu. Fact number 7. The film was a decade-long obsession, plagued by casting drama coming in, and number 7 is the chaotic, decade-long journey that brought Nosferatu to the screen. This wasn't a project that fell neatly into place. It was a passion project for Robert Eggers that nearly died multiple times. The director's fascination with the story began when he was a child, and he even directed a high school production of it, a testament to its early grip on his imagination. He initially planned for Nosferatu to be his second feature film, right after the breakout success of The Witch in 2015. In fact, a version of the film was in development as early as 2017, but bringing a vision this specific to life is never easy. The project entered a frustrating cycle of development hell, marked by high-profile casting changes that kept it in limbo. Originally, the film was set to reunite Eggers with his star from The Witch, Anya Taylor-Joy, who had been attached to the project since its early days. Alongside her, pop music icon and budding actor Harry Styles was cast in the role of Thomas Hutter. Think about that for a moment. An Eggers-directed gothic horror starring Anya Taylor-Joy and Harry Styles. It would have been a massive cultural event, but it was not meant to be. In 2021, Styles dropped out, citing scheduling conflicts, and not long after, Taylor-Joy also departed the project for similar reasons, leaving the film's future in jeopardy. The departure of its two leads forced the production into a hard pause. Eggers himself mentioned that the constant setbacks felt like the universe was telling him it was a bad idea. For a while, it seemed as if his dream of remaking Nosferatu might remain just that, a dream. But Eggers' obsession wouldn't let go. The project was revived in 2022, but with a completely new configuration. Lily Rose Depp was cast to replace Taylor-Joy in the pivotal role of Ellen Hutter. At the same time, Nicholas Hoult stepped into the role of Thomas Hutter, replacing Styles. And then there was the vampire himself. Bill Skarsgård, already a horror icon for his performance as Pennywise, was cast as Count Orlok. What's fascinating is that Skarsgård's involvement with the project actually predates his casting as the monster. He revealed he had met with Eggers nearly 10 years prior and was actually cast as Thomas Hutter in one of the film's earlier, aborted versions. When the project finally came back around for the third time, and he saw the roles of Thomas and another character, Friedrich, going to other actors, he thought his chance to be in the film was gone. It was a complete shock to him when Eggers approached him to play Orlok, a task he found both terrifying and thrilling. This long, tangled history of near misses and last-minute changes underscores the film's destiny. It wasn't just a movie being made. It was a film that had to fight for its existence, with each delay ultimately shaping the unique ensemble that finally brought it to life. Fact number 6. Willem Dafoe's return is a meta-casting masterstroke. At number 6, we have a piece of casting so perfect, so layered with cinematic history, that it feels like a wink from the movie gods themselves. The return of Willem Dafoe to the world of Nosferatu. Dafoe plays Professor Alban Eberhard von Franz, a crazy vampire hunter and occult scientist. This character is a significant expansion from the 1922 original, where his counterpart, Professor Bulwer, was a much more minor figure. Eggers transformed the character into a central force in the narrative, a man obsessed with the unnatural and the metaphysical. But what makes this so brilliant is Dafoe's personal history with the material. In the year 2000, Dafoe delivered an iconic performance in the film Shadow of the Vampire. In that movie, he played Max Schreck, the actor who portrayed Count Orlok in the original 1922 Nosferatu. The film's premise is a fictionalized making-of story where the director hires a real vampire to play the part to achieve ultimate realism. Dafoe's performance as an actor who is a vampire was so utterly convincing and unsettling that it earned him an Academy Award nomination. He didn't just play a man playing a monster. He blurred the line between the two, becoming the on-screen embodiment of the Nosferatu mythos for a whole generation. Now, over 2 decades later, he returns to the same story, but on the opposite side of the battle. He is no longer the vampire. He is the vampire hunter. This isn't just clever casting. It's a meta-commentary on the legacy of Nosferatu itself. Eggers, a huge fan of Shadow of the Vampire, creates a fascinating loop by casting Dafoe. The actor who once personified the monster now stands as its chief adversary. It adds a layer of delicious irony and historical weight to every scene Dafoe is in. When his character speaks of the occult and the nature of this ancient evil, it carries the unspoken authority of an actor who has, in a cinematic sense, inhabited that very evil. Interestingly, it's been suggested that the character of von Franz is a stand-in for Eggers himself, a passionate, almost fanatical academic obsessed with the lore. In an interview, Dafoe acknowledged this connection, stating, "You can say Eggers is me in the respect that I'm his creature. He sends me out and take his landscape." This commitment to practical, visceral filmmaking, combined with Dafoe's intense performance, makes Professor von Franz a truly unforgettable character. It's a performance that is both a tribute to the Van Helsing archetype and a wild, distinctly Eggersian creation, made all the richer by the actor's own legendary connection to the vampire he now hunts. Fact number 5. The film's haunting look was crafted with 35mm film and custom-made vintage lenses. Moving on to number 5. Let's talk about why Nosferatu looks and feels the way it does. This isn't just a film. It's a meticulously crafted moving painting. Robert Eggers and his longtime cinematographer, Jaron Blaschke, are famous for their obsessive commitment to authenticity, and they took it to a new extreme here. Instead of shooting on digital, they made the crucial decision to shoot the entire film on 35mm film, giving it an organic, textured quality that is almost impossible to replicate. But they didn't stop there. Their goal was not to recreate the look of the 1922 German expressionist film, but to create a visual style that felt true to the film's 1838 setting. As Blaschke explains, the dominant artistic style of the time was Romanticism, exemplified by painters known for their dramatic, moody landscapes. To achieve this, Blaschke worked with Panavision to create a unique package of lenses. This included using historic Balter optics, which are vintage lenses that create a softer, more painterly image, as well as custom-made lenses designed to mimic the optical imperfections of even older designs. Furthermore, they employed a set of special filters which Blaschi had first developed for their black and white film, The Lighthouse. When used with color film stock, these filters created a heavily desaturated, almost monochromatic look. Production designer Craig Lathrop noted that this technique deliberately suppressed certain colors to create a more somber and oppressive atmosphere. The result is a palette of pale, washed-out colors, deep, inky shadows, and hauntingly luminous moonlight that gives the film the appearance of a black and white movie that was shot in color. This obsessive attention to detail extended to every aspect of the production design. Lathrop and his team built over 60 distinct sets from scratch, ensuring every piece of furniture and prop was accurate to the period. This commitment to a handcrafted aesthetic is a hallmark of Eggers' work. He and Blaschke favor long, uninterrupted takes, forcing the audience to live in these meticulously constructed spaces. The result is not just a visually stunning film, but a complete, immersive world. The choice of film stock, the vintage lenses, and the controlled color palette all work together to create a pervasive sense of gloom and dread that pulls you into its gothic nightmare and refuses to let you go. Mid-roll CTA. By the way, if you're enjoying this deep dive into the madness and meticulous craftsmanship behind Nosferatu, do us a huge favor and hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. We go this deep every week, breaking down the stories behind the cinema you love. Your support lets us keep digging, so join the community and don't miss what's next. Now, back to the breakdown. Fact number 4. The story radically deviates from the original, centering on female agency and repressed desire. At number 4, we have one of the most significant aspects of the film. Robert Eggers didn't just remake Nosferatu, he fundamentally rewrote it. While paying homage to F.W. Murnau's 1922 classic, Eggers' version introduces radical changes to the plot and characters, transforming the story into a complex, dark romance about obsession and repressed desire. The biggest change is the nature of the connection between Ellen Hutter and Count Orlok. In the original, Ellen is a passive victim whose husband accidentally leads the vampire to her. Eggers' version completely appends this. It's suggested that Ellen has a pre-existing, supernatural connection to Orlok. The story implies that as a lonely young girl, she used some form of occult power to unknowingly summon the ancient vampire, creating a dark, psychic bond that has haunted her ever since. This single change reframes the entire narrative. Orlok doesn't just stumble upon her. He is drawn to her, awakened by her, because they are bound by a shared darkness. This gives Ellen a level of agency and complexity that was completely absent before. She is not just a victim. She is an active, if unwilling, participant in her own haunting. The film explores her as a woman in a repressive 19th century society, married to a man who cannot satisfy the deeper, darker parts of her soul. Her connection to Orlok becomes a terrifying manifestation of her own repressed desires and loneliness. This makes her final decision to sacrifice herself far more complex. It's not just about saving the town. It's about confronting the darkness she helped unleash. The film also dramatically expands the roles of supporting characters to reinforce these new themes. The characters of Friedrich and Anna Harding, played by Aaron Taylor Johnson and Emma Corrin, are given much more screen time and a tragic subplot, making the plague Orlok brings feel far more personal and devastating. Furthermore, Willem Dafoe's Professor von Franz is a major new character, an occultist who understands the supernatural forces at play, acting as a counterpoint to a world that dismisses Ellen's experiences as female hysteria. These changes represent a complete reimagining of the story's core, shifting the focus from a straightforward horror narrative to a psychological and tragic exploration of the terrifying idea that sometimes the monster doesn't just come from beyond, but is called from within. Fact number 3. Lily Rose Depp's Ellen is the film's true center, forged through intense physical transformation. Coming in at number 3, And building on our last point is the elevation of Ellen Hutter to the absolute core of the film, brought to life through a shocking and intense physical performance by Lily Rose Depp. While previous versions focused on the vampire or the husband, Eggers deliberately anchors his story in Ellen's consciousness. And to achieve this, Depp underwent a grueling transformative preparation process. To portray Ellen's descent into possession, Depp worked extensively with movement choreographer Marie-Gabrielle Rodi. Rodi specializes in a form of Japanese avant-garde dance theater called Butoh, which translates to the dance of utter darkness. This was the perfect foundation for depicting Ellen's struggle, with Depp learning to contort her body in unsettling ways to convey an external force taking control. The results are so effective that many viewers wondered if her movements were CGI, but Eggers has confirmed that Depp performed all of it physically herself. The creative team drew inspiration from disturbing historical sources, including 19th century medical illustrations of women diagnosed with hysteria, studying their postures to inform the possession scenes. In the film, these moments are visceral. As doctors dismiss her suffering, Depp's body writhes and jerks, her physicality communicating a deep internal horror. Depp explained that while she initially thought these sequences would be improvisational, they were meticulously choreographed, allowing her to infuse every gasp and back arch with specific intention. Her performance has been widely praised by critics as the standout of the film, with many calling it haunting, mesmerizing, and the best of her career. This focus on Ellen's physicality and inner life is what truly separates this Nosferatu. She is no longer a damsel in distress, but a complex woman whose loneliness makes her vulnerable to the vampire-esque call. A line from Professor von Franz perfectly encapsulates her character. In pagan times, you might have made a formidable high priestess of Isis, but in this modern world, your presence is even more dire. By placing this powerful, transformed Ellen at the heart of the story, Eggers creates a profound tragedy. Her struggle is not just against a monster, but with the dark, powerful parts of herself that the monster represents. It's a shocking reinterpretation, and Depp's raw, physical commitment is what makes it so unforgettable. Fact number 2. The production used thousands of real, trained rats in a logistical nightmare. Prepare yourself, because at number 2, we have a fact that is viscerally disgusting and a testament to Robert Eggers' insane commitment to practical effects. In an age of digital creatures, Eggers insisted on using thousands of real animals. For key scenes, particularly the sequence where Orlok arrives on the ship, the production had hordes of actual rodents swarming the set. The number has varied in reports, from 2,000 to even 5,000 live, trained rats. Eggers explained his hybrid approach, stating that if there's rats in the foreground, they're real, and they thin out and become CG rats in the background. This ensured that the actors were reacting to a tangible, crawling threat, lending a palpable sense of horror and disgust to their performances. The rats were managed by professional animal handlers and were remarkably well trained, in some cases responding to buzzers to create a coordinated swarm. However, this dedication came with a very unpleasant side effect. As Eggers candidly admitted, "I didn't know that rats are incontinent. And so the smell is insane. You can only imagine the stench on set." It was a sensory overload of filth and fear. Actors like Nicholas Hoult and Willem Dafoe had to perform in scenes with these smelly, incontinent rats, and Emma Corrin even had them crawling on her for certain shots. This wasn't acting in front of a green screen. This was enduring a genuine infestation for the sake of the craft. This commitment is central to Eggers' filmmaking philosophy. By creating a real physical environment of decay, he immerses both his actors and his audience in the film's world. The sheer scale of this operation is mind-boggling and speaks volumes about the lengths this production went to achieve its vision. It's a logistical nightmare that would make most filmmakers balk. But for Eggers, the authenticity was non-negotiable. The genuine disgust on the actors' faces and the unnerving sight of a real tide of living vermin all contributed to the film's deeply unsettling atmosphere. It's a shocking example of practical filmmaking at its most extreme, and it's a key ingredient in what makes Nosferatu feel so horribly, terribly real. Fact number 1. Bill Skarsgård's transformation was a physical and psychological torture. And now, for the number 1 most shocking fact about the 2024 Nosferatu. Bill Skarsgård as complete and torturous transformation into Count Orlok. This was more than just a role. It was a physical and psychological ordeal that pushed him to his absolute limit. Let's start with the physical. To become the ancient, corpse-like vampire, Skarsgård endured around 6 hours in the makeup chair every single day. The extensive prosthetics rendered him so completely unrecognizable that he worried he wouldn't be able to perform through them. The transformation was so total that his co-stars admitted they were genuinely scared the first time they saw him on set in full costume. But the change went far deeper than prosthetics. To create Orlok's voice, Skarsgård worked for months with an Icelandic opera coach, Asgerger Jr.'s daughter, to learn how to lower his speaking voice by an entire octave. This wasn't digital manipulation. What you hear in the film is his actual voice. He developed a 20-minute routine of vocal exercises, including techniques similar to Mongolian throat singing, which he would perform between takes to keep his voice deep and active. The result is a guttural rumble that seems to emanate from the walls themselves. This intense physical commitment was matched by the psychological toll. Skarsgård described the process as conjuring pure evil and admitted that the role really affected me. He explained that because Orlok is depicted as a sorcerer, trying to inhabit that mental space did a number on him. It wasn't a character he could simply leave on set. The experience was so draining that he stated finishing the film was a relief. Coming from the actor who terrified a generation as Pennywise, that sentiment carries enormous weight, as he has confirmed this transformation was far more difficult. His dedication was absolute, enduring not just the makeup and vocal strain, but also the film's harsh practical elements, like lying in a coffin with real rats. This complete surrender to the role is what makes his Orlok so terrifying. It's not a performance, it's a possession. Skarsgård didn't just play the monster. He allowed it to consume him, and the chilling result is forever burned onto the screen. So there you have it. From a production that barely survived development hell to a lead actor who sacrificed his sanity for the role, Robert Eggers' Nosferatu is a film defined by obsession, both on screen and off. We've seen how Bill Skarsgård's torturous transformation created an unforgettable monster, how thousands of real rats created an atmosphere of genuine filth, and how Lily Rose Depp's physically demanding performance recentered the story as a dark feminist tragedy. This wasn't a remake. This was a resurrection. Eggers didn't just reshoot a classic story. He dug up its corpse, studied its bones, and breathed a new, terrifying life into it, infusing it with contemporary anxieties about desire and repression. It is a testament to the power of a singular artistic vision and the insane dedication of a cast and crew willing to go to the absolute edge to realize it. The film stands as a monumental achievement in modern horror, a gothic masterpiece that will, without a doubt, haunt audiences for years to come. But what do you think? Which of these facts shocked you the most? Was it the meta-casting of Willem Dafoe, the custom-made vintage camera work, or the extreme physical ordeals of the actors? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. And as always, if you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more deep dives into your favorite films. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.